Peppa and 2 leaves. Peppa walks around the garden. Peppa sees 2 leaves lying on the grass. 1 leaf is big and 1 leaf is small. Peppa picks up the big leaf and looks at it closely. Peppa picks up the small leaf with her other hand. Peppa compares the 2 leaves. Peppa puts the 2 leaves on the ground. A gentle breeze blows by. The small leaf starts rolling across the grass. Peppa is surprised and runs after the leaf. George runs over. The leaf stops at his feet. At the same time, Peppa runs up just in time. Peppa picks up both leaves again. Peppa tosses the 2 leaves into the air. The 2 leaves spin and float down slowly. Peppa and George raise their hands to catch the leaves. 1 leaf lands on George's head. Peppa sees it and laughs happily. George laughs too. Peppa and George are playing with a balloon in the park. A strong gust of wind blows the balloon up into the sky. Peppa looks up at the balloon, startled. George points at the sky, following the balloon with his eyes. Peppa and Daddy Pig start running after the balloon, trying to keep up as it flies higher. Peppa and Daddy Pig run across the grassy field, their legs moving quickly. George runs behind, watching the balloon and smiling. Peppa and Daddy Pig spot the balloon caught in a tree branch. Peppa points at the tree, excited to see the balloon. Daddy Pig uses a long stick to try and reach the balloon from the tree. Peppa hops around happily. Peppa and Daddy Pig are happy to have rescued the balloon. Peppa holds the balloon in her hands, smiling. George jumps up joyfully. The pig family sits down together and continues to play in the park. The pig family arrives at a farm to try being farmers for the day. We're going to be farmers and take care of the plants, Peppa says. Everyone gets ready to start working on the farm. Peppa and George start watering the plants. I'm going to water the plants so they can grow big and strong, Peppa says. George helps his sister by watering around the garden. Peppa and George begin to pick ripe tomatoes from the garden. Look, our tomatoes are ready, Peppa says. The pig family continues to pick vegetables and put them in their baskets. After a hard day's work on the farm, the pig family sits down to enjoy the vegetables they just picked. We can eat what we've grown with our own hands, Daddy Pig says. Everyone enjoys a meal and feels proud of their hard work. After a hard day's work, the pig family sits down to rest. Being a farmer is fun, but I like playing more, Peppa says. Daddy Pig laughs and says, helping on the farm is good, but playing is fun too. The whole family laughs and feels proud of their work. Whoa! Pig, and the dancing leaf. Peppa finds a big leaf in the yard and picks it up. George approaches as the leaf gently shakes.
Whoa!
The leaf twirls around and dances across the yard. Wow! They imagine following it into a sparkling garden.
Yahoo!
The wind settles, and they pick up the leaf with a smile. Peppa is sick. Today is a beautiful day. But Peppa wakes up with a red nose and a few sneezes. It seems Peppa has caught a cold. The whole family prepares warm water, soft towels, and gently takes care of Peppa so she can recover quickly. Peppa is wrapped in a blanket, lying quietly on her bed. She feels a bit tired and can't run around like usual. Peppa is given a soft pillow behind her back. She relaxes, closes her eyes, and rests peacefully in her quiet room to help her body heal. Thanks to everyone's care, Peppa gradually feels better. Her nose is less red, her smile returns, and she's ready for new adventures.
Counting with fruits. Wow! Peppa took each apple out of the basket and arranged them in a horizontal row on the table. Counting is fun with sweet apples. Let's see how many apples Peppa has on the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 red apples look so delicious. How far can you count? Now, Peppa is sharing these apples with everyone. 1 for each. Let's count backward together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sharing with family makes counting much more meaningful. Isn't learning to count fun?
Huh?
Aha! Yahoo! Aha!
Peppa looked out the window and saw the rain, water pattering on the roof. Mommy Pig gave Peppa and George their rain boots and coats.
Hey!
Peppa and George jumped in puddles, splashing water everywhere, laughing happily. Daddy Pig joined in, jumping into the puddles with Peppa and George. The family jumped across many puddles. creating a playful rain of splashes. Peppa Pig and the dancing cake. Mummy Pig is baking a delicious cake today. Peppa and George can't wait to try it. But suddenly, the cake starts bouncing on the table. Peppa jumps in surprise, and George laughs out loud. The cake hops around the house, while Peppa and George chase it, laughing. Daddy Pig wakes up with a start, looks around, then goes back to sleep. Finally, the cake lands on the plate and smiles, as if to say, "Come eat me." The family sits on the porch, enjoying the sweet, silly cake together. What a fun and tasty day! Peppa and George ran outside to play as the rain started. They jumped into puddles, splashing water everywhere. Mummy Pig brought raincoats and reminded them, "Be careful, don't slip." Daddy Pig appeared with a big umbrella, sheltering Peppa and George from the rain. Peppa found a giant puddle, carefully jumped in, and laughed with joy. Finally, the whole family stood under the umbrella, watching Peppa and George dance in the rain, laughing together.
Peppa Pig and the giant truck. Peppa and George's peaceful morning suddenly disappears as a giant truck appears right in their backyard. Oh! Huh? The truck isn't just big, it's filled with strange things no one knows how to use, and Peppa loves strange things. George tries to push the giant wheel, but it turns out the wheel is bigger than George's plan. Peppa believes driving a truck is just like driving anything else. There's only one tiny problem. The truck doesn't listen to Peppa. And then, oops, one little push on the gas, and the giant truck starts an unplanned adventure. Finally, the truck stops. Peppa and George learn that the most memorable fun often starts with things that are way too big.
Peppa and the shared umbrella. It's a rainy morning, and Peppa brings her favorite pink umbrella. She sees Wendy Wolf getting wet under a tree. Peppa smiles and shares her umbrella with Wendy. They walk together, splashing puddles and singing happily. Madame Gazelle says, "Sharing is wonderful." Peppa and Wendy smile under the pink umbrella. Peppa and George spotted a rolling wheel in the yard and decided the adventure started here. This wheel seems to never stop, and Peppa had to run fast just to catch up. Despite trying, George couldn't catch the wheel, but he could only laugh after every fall. The wheel didn't just roll fast, it also created a fresh breeze of flowers in the park. Finally, the wheel stopped, and Peppa and George realized that sometimes the best adventures are the simplest ones. And in the end, Peppa and George understood that sometimes letting things roll is the most fun of all. Peppa and the Flying Teddy Bear. Peppa hugs Teddy in her bedroom. George runs in with a bunch of balloons. Peppa looks at the balloons, then looks at Teddy, then gets an idea. Peppa lifts Teddy up and smiles happily. Peppa ties the balloons to Teddy. Peppa lets go to Teddy, starts to fly. Peppa and George are surprised and run after Teddy. Teddy floats up and gets stuck on a tree branch. Daddy Pig comes in, stands on a chair, and brings Teddy down.
2 hours later.
Peppa and George jump with joy. The whole family laughs happily.
Peppa Pig and the Lost Flying Umbrella. It's a very normal morning until a very unusual umbrella lands right in Peppa's backyard. This umbrella looks cheerful, and it clearly doesn't want to be used just for rain. A small gust of wind blows by, and the umbrella decides to take Peppa for a walk around the yard. George joins in. Now they're not staying dry anymore. They're playing with the wind. And then, splash! The umbrella lands in a puddle in the wettest way possible, doubling the fun. In the end, the umbrella finally stays still. Peppa and George learn that the best adventures often come from things that never stay in one place.
Ah.
2 hours later.
Peppa Pig and the strange noise in the garden. The garden is calm and quiet until a strange rustling sound comes from the bushes.
Hey! Hey!
The noise isn't loud, but it's curious enough that Peppa and George can't ignore it. Peppa bravely moves closer, while George chooses a safer spot behind her. It turns out the sound was just the wind, but Peppa and George aren't fully convinced yet. And then, the loudest noise in the garden comes from George stepping on a dry leaf. Peppa and George learn that sometimes the scariest things are just in our imagination. Yoo-hoo!
2 hours later.
Little Pig and Big Pig were walking in the park when they suddenly heard a strange sound coming from behind the bushes. They both stopped and looked at each other curiously. Little Pig started to guess. Could it be a giant bear sleeping in there? And Sister Pig thought, or maybe a squirrel looking for food. The rustling from the bushes grew louder. Neither of them could figure out, what was it? Could it be a monster? And then, suddenly, Daddy Pig jumped out from the bushes, scaring Little Pig and Sister Pig out of their wits. It turned out that Daddy Pig was playing hide and seek. After a moment of panic, the whole pig family laughed out loud. It turned out that the strange thing behind the bush was a fun game that Father Pig thought up.
Peppa Pig and the Trash Can Race. Peppa and George discover old trash can vehicles in the yard and come up with a fun idea. Peppa jumps onto a trash can vehicle while George watches curiously.
Let's go!
The race begins. Peppa's trash can zooms ahead. George follows closely, both cheering happily. George accidentally crashes into a pile of toys, making Peppa giggle as she races past. Yahoo! The race ends with laughter as the whole family enjoys the moment together.
Peppa Pig Pig learns to draw. Today, Peppa is learning to draw. She's so excited to make a beautiful picture. Peppa starts drawing a little house. Oh, how cute it looks! George wants to draw too. And of course, it's a big green dinosaur. Mummy Pig says both drawings are wonderful. Peppa and George giggle with joy.
Whoa.
What a fun drawing day! Peppa feels like a real little artist now.
Peppa Pig and the Lost Cloud.
Whoa!
It's a peaceful afternoon when Peppa and George notice a cloud floating unusually close to their backyard. Wherever they go, the cloud follows, as if it's afraid of getting lost. Peppa tries to touch the cloud. George tries too, but it always stays just out of reach. Soon, the cloud begins to fade away, leaving a few raindrops behind as a goodbye. Peppa and George learn that sometimes short visits can leave the longest-lasting joy.
It was a beautiful sunny morning, and Peppa and George were playing in the backyard. Suddenly, George pointed up at the sky, where the stars sparkled brightly. Peppa smiled and nodded in agreement. The two quickly got ready. They put on their helmets and stepped into the shiny spaceship. The rocket blasted off, soaring through the fluffy white clouds and into the vast universe. Hooray! They floated around joyfully among the stars. Peppa stopped on a bright orange planet, while George lay back on a soft pink planet, smiling as he gazed at the endless galaxy. Peppa Pig and the Giant Cookie. This morning. Peppa Pig and the Clock of Patience. Peppa and George eagerly wait for the cake to bake. Peppa keeps looking at the clock. Why is it taking so long?
Oh.
Suddenly, the old pendulum clock speaks. Be patient, Peppa! George gasps in surprise. The clock ticks softly, tick-tock, and Peppa watches, learning to wait calmly.
Hey!
When the ding sounds, Mummy Pig brings out the cake. Peppa cheers. I waited. The family sits on the porch, enjoying the warm cake. The ticking clock reminds them, patience brings sweet rewards.
Whoa!
Peppa Pig and the ripe apple tree. Peppa spots the apple tree, heavy with ripe red apples. She bounces up and down, reaching as high as she can. But the apples sway teasingly above her, just out of reach. George grabs the tree trunk and shakes it with all his strength. A few apples tumble down with a satisfying thud, but instead of landing in their hands,
Oh!
the apples roll, roll, roll far away. Peppa and George scramble after them, completely out of breath. Exhausted, the two sit under the tree, ready to give up. Suddenly, a gust of wind shakes the branches. One shiny apple drops straight down, rolling right to Peppa's feet. George picks it up proudly, holding it like treasure. Peppa giggles. The two share the apple, munching happily under the tree.